you could choose a book, which is what I want to do, and deal with that book. Have a podcast, deal with that, and change, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but what we'll do, I'll set up a session with you over this week, and then we can talk about that.
All right.
Yeah. I think that's going to be crucial.
Definitely.
Yeah. Ayingol kakhulu le nto idlalayo. Yeah. Le nto idlalayo ayingol kakhulu. There's Bongi.
No, it's.
Hi Bongi. Welcome. All right.
Hey, Kuti. Akuzachisi, guys.
Ivalondo.
Yo.
Woof.
Ekanye.
The black swan on the screen.
Ulona pima nywabe. Hey, better woka.
Man. Yo.
Who are she?
Ne.
Pambele pulling. Ka sale fa. Technology.
Nakuno Zama. Hey.
Hey, Zama.
All right.
Hey, Zama.
The volume gazama ingathi use mute.
No, it's useko mute.
I think she's frozen.
She's on mute.
Yo.
Yeah. You know the problem, Yoba.
Hi.
I can't read. Hey, Zama.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hi. This is the last time I'm doing this.
Akushushu Zama.
You.
Bekumela kanti niselwandle nina nje.
Stress ophethe nje thina. Guys. Yo.
She's a guy.
But don't worry.
No, it's
gonna be okay.
Yo.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know why I don't tell people I work for Woolworths, right? Because it's either it's a compliment or a complaint, or they want to supply us.
And you have to make it happen when.
Like how? How would I make it happen? Like really? I'm like, Lundi, please. Hi guys.
No.
I'm like, I'm not even going to answer this question because firstly, I'm going to call Ulundi because firstly, there's no organic beef, but
You're going to post it on Facebook.
there's no organic beef. So it just tells me already you're on the wrong track. So we're not going to look at you because you don't know your facts. I know.
Kaloku abantu once kuthiwe ikhampani ethile umuntu ucinga about the layer yakhe ana idea uba wena udila nempahla, you know.
Yeah, I know.
And I want to just wait. This is going to go like cash. Hopefully, I don't have to answer things that are really specific to work.
No.
Yeah.
You know, because you need to have the mandate of the company to speak on their behalf.
Exactly. So I can't do that. I can answer it, but I'll have to go through the routes and the PR route and so on.
Yeah. No, we'll explain to people if it comes up, because we don't want people to be specific to company issues ever. Talking about
that's in yogurt and the yogurt to be off.
and maybe can I check it the date?
Why you doing
Bonke
I'm going to call him offline. I'm going to call him because yeah.
I bet man. Look was again the organic beef.
Oh, Betruna. Yo.
Shushu guys. Then you fetch a pen.
Nam ndicela uyothatha ifeni hey.
Yeah, please get a fan.
Oh.
You get a fan. Yeah, it's so
Melumzi Jack.
Say
I'm brother
Aibo.
Okay, already supporting who sees man.
Yeah, sicela billing yakho.
Yeah.
Prepare. Sifumana ku amo le link.
Yeah.
Sifumana ku amo.
Amo.
Yeah, pipa.
Yo.
Kasho kangcono. Andifuna uyinyusa le feni.
It's hot in Cape Town, yeah?
Yo.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's also hot, but not as much. Not as much.
Yeah, yabona ke. Kuyalunga ke ngoku.
Testing live on Facebook.
Why am I freezing?
We won't keep you long, Will. You guys will have time to go to the beach at least. No more,
Yes.
you know. No more because 18 and over. Singathemba mhlambe sifuna ulinukisa mhlambe 4 hours away. Meli, good to have you, man. Molo, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. Sedukuvangeli.
Hey, wetsa uthetha ngawe apha kanti ulapha.
All right. Uzama engathi log
Is off.
Yeah, she's off, but I think she's gonna be coming back soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Asizonibamba kakhulu and come on, the sun sets very late there. So
Yes. No, it's pretty dangerous now. Now you can't go out.
Yeah.
Opupu
bayaswima no sauce.
Only in the evenings.
Oh, yeah. All right. I was just asking, okay, if this music, actually, I only got one.
It's good.
Okay. It's good. Okay. Welcome. Kola. Good to see you. Good to have you. Vameki. All right. Vameki, good to see you. Ah, nakumkwat chin. Uyatya fundi. Kwathi. Yabona fundi ba hey. Sagqibezela ilunch fundi ke ngisayiqala. Good to see you. Umchazela uZama disconnected because we don't see akekho. So we need her back. Oh, there she now again. There you go. All right. Okay, Kwat.
Asengeni.
It looks like
Ungenile, yeah.
get glasses as well, you know.
Yeah.
It looks like I must also get glasses. You guys look cool with the glasses on.
You have no idea. It's a struggle for me in class when I have to be on Zoom because, you know,
Yeah.
if I have to read the messages, I need to take them off, you know. So that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Abantu bathe usondela too much uthi screening. So I need to balance it. All right, we're starting now. I'd like to welcome our guests and welcome all the people that have joined us both on Zoom as well as on Facebook. And I'm just going to ask them to please just mute anyone who is joining except our guests on Zoom, to mute their devices so that we can be able to avoid the chats that are happening at home or whatever is happening. We just want to hear the speakers. And, you know, I'd like to welcome those that are on Zoom and those that are on Facebook. This is showing on Facebook Live as we speak. And those people who are on Facebook, at some point or whenever they feel like they can write their questions that they would like to pose on our guests here. But also those people that are here on Zoom and those that do not want to speak, you can use this chat area to send your questions. I will ask from the start that please avoid asking company-specific questions, all right? The companies that these ladies work for, they have the official spokespeople. So, but we can talk about them as individuals. I'd like to welcome you again. You know, just a few years ago, success in the corporate sector, especially for Black women, was a rarity, a rare thing. But many Black women are breaking through that glass ceiling, that artificial glass ceiling, which should not have been there in the first place. And they're blazing their trail for themselves and also for younger girls and boys who are out there who may be feeling that there is no hope, there is no way for them to make it in life. And so today I have two such guests, great women. People, when they saw this this poster, started phoning me and you know, sending messages to say how they were looking forward to this session because they love you guys and they really, really appreciate you in your various ways. And so they can't wait to be here today. And I'm sure so many of them are here, especially young ladies. Ukona Omnia, who sent me a message, apparently Bongiwe, I think she's in that field of e-commerce. And I think she said, hey, she remembers a tutor or something of that sort. You know, someone else from Maritzburg phoned me about you, Zama. You know, so people are excited. And I'm also excited to have you here with us today. And I can see some of my friends are here, Nago Alois, you know, Naba, Willow, and others have joined. I'm sure Abanya are going to join us. Welcome. I'd like to welcome all of you. Guys, we have Zama Ntlantsana, who is a trained food technologist or scientist, who I met all those years ago, Zama, in Maritzburg. when we met in the 90s. We used to sing together. It was wonderful. My stay there in Maritzburg. You are one of the people that made it a place for me to feel welcome when I was there for 4 years. And then I moved to Cape Town and you joined. Zama was then starting off in her career as a food technologist, and she's going to tell us about that. But now she's a product development manager. Groceries, households, personal care, pet care, cleaning at Woolworths. And a big company and a big responsibility that she's going to tell us a bit more about, so that we can appreciate what people do when they go to these workplaces. Sometimes we see people moving into these corporate companies. What do they do there? You know, and we want to know now, so that younger kids and younger people that are listening can say, okay, this is what I can study for. I can study for food technology. I can study for this. I can do this. I can do that. The purpose of this show is to profile people that are making a difference in their careers and in the general areas of life. In order for someone out there in the township, someone out there in the rural areas or wherever it may be, who feel that because of my socioeconomic conditions, I cannot make it. We want to look at people that grew up in the same way that those people have grown up, to inspire them, to inform and to motivate that whatever conditions you have grown up in, you can still make it. And so these guys that I have here today are going to share with us their journey. Our second guest is Bongiwe Mbunge. You know, Bongiwe is a registered auditor, as well as a chartered accountant. And she is also a partner at Mazars, South Africa. And also a very big company that services a lot of other clients in the country, and in fact, around the world, if I'm not mistaken. And so this afternoon, we're gonna talk to you. So welcome, ladies. Please say hi to our viewers.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege for me to be here, and I'm excited because the conversation is about my journey and my background, and for that, it's a privilege to share my story. So thank you so much for having me, Pat, and what a pleasure to be co-paneled with Zama. I'm really excited. I'm also going to learn about more of what she does. So I'm really thankful for that.
Thanks, Bongi.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Pat, for the invite. You know, I'm a very shy person and very private. So for me to do this, it took quite I had to motivate myself to do it. But I'm excited. I think it's yeah, I'll make it happen. I'll make it happen. I'm excited because the reason why I agreed is that we didn't have this opportunity where we can have people who we can look up to and who can inspire us. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to show and really to show to the young people who are really struggling right now with what's happening, that it's possible. It is possible. So for me, now I'm excited. Bongiwe, I've known you for a very long time, so this is quite interesting. The two of us together, and I'm married to one of my best friends, which is like so I'm like, wow, okay. Ooh, I feel out of my depth, but I'm sure I'll be okay.
No, we'll be all right. We'll be okay. Thank you so much, Zama. As well. So guys, just please share with us how your journey started, where it started, where you were born, just a little bit about your background. I said earlier on, Zama, we met in Maritzburg in KwaZulu-Natal. You know, tell us about how you started, what were the situation, and just so that we can understand your background. And then we're going to come through to you, Bongi, as well.
I grew up in a township called Imbali, in Maritzburg. Section 3. And I went to primary school there, a centralized primary school for that location. So in the socio-economic environment was really at the peak of the violence between IFP and ANC at the time. So the schooling system was not very stable. We had to be taken out of class all the time. Tear gas was our friend, and people dying around us was something that was not, it was not a surprise. It was not something, it was something that we're used to. So by the time I got to standard 5, in that time, standard 5, my parents, in all their wisdom, decided to take me out of that environment and actually gave me an opportunity to go to a boarding school that was going to give me an education that was at a level that was acceptable for Black people at that time, because we couldn't go to white schools. So the best schools we could go to were church-run schools. So I went to a Presbyterian school as a Seventh-day Adventist, very staunch at that time. And you can imagine the challenges that I was put. I knew prophecy, I knew it by heart. So it was like a bit of a one. So so that I went to boarding school for 5 years. Best years of my life, and the boarding school was called Pholela High School. It was based in Bulwa. Yeah, Pholela. It was in Bulwa, surrounded by nature, surrounded by waterfalls. It actually reminded me of Adventist schools, the way it was run. And so I spent my teenage years there. Best years of my life.
Okay. I know the family is quite staunch, strong in that sense. All right, Bongi, I remember, you know, when I was working in Cape Town in an NGO called SPP, and you came there as a junior or a trainee auditor or accountant. But before we get there, let's start at the beginning, where it started for you.
All right, thank you so much. You know what, I'm an ordinary girl who grew up in Kukuletu. And I always go back to that setting because I think it sets such a foundation for who I am today. So we're starting at section 2, A89. And I just want to paint a brief picture because, you know, the first, those few years were quite, you know, important for me. A block in front of us, my uncle and his family lived. So those were our first cousins. A block behind us, N91, my aunt married into that family. So I had another set of grandparents and family. And I also went to a primary school that was there in 91, in Obantu Public Primary School. That's where I did my sub 8 to standard 2. And so I'm painting this picture because when I was born, it was just at the brink where my mother had divorced my father, you know, and came back home. So our grandparents played such a role. We lived in the family home. And I remember I was the last one to go to school, where we would take the rest to school, Esonwabo, Enobande Vuyani, and then I'll come back home with my grandfather and we'll do chores until it was time to go and fetch them again. So that's, you know, I'm highlighting that because in as much as we didn't have a present father, the fathers in our family were instrumental to our upbringing and really crafting who we are today. So I remember when I was doing sub 8, you know, I was number 1 in class. I was an A student, you know. So my years in were effortless, you know. I didn't work hard at it, and as such, when I matriculated with a normal pass, not even a bachelor's pass. And therefore I had to go to Technicon. I couldn't get into university unless I elected to do a bridging course. And the only thing I was what I did not want to do. I didn't want to do that had to do with biology or history or any other thing. So that's why they sent me to a commercial high school. So I went to Gardens Commercial High School where I matriculated and I pursued accounting. It's only when I was in my second year of working that I got curious. There has to be more.
Yeah.
What is the epitome of this? What does it look like? What does it look like at its best? Those are the questions I was asking myself already 18 months into my first role at Mazars. And that really prompted me to move into the audit department and start converting my diploma into a degree while I worked.
And so where did you do your diploma?
So I did my first year at Ipentech, and then I felt that it wasn't challenging enough, and that was my motivation to move. And so second and third year in Pretoria, back then it was called Technikon Pretoria. So I moved away from home to a completely new city where I lived there for the next 2 years until I graduated. So what also motivated me when I was considering going into the audit department is something that my lecturer said in our audit 2 lecture theater. He said to us, I think we're probably about 200 students in the auditorium. And he said, guys, do you really think all of you can be chartered accountants? I mean, it's and I remember looking at him and thinking, what a nerve, to tell us what. And so when I learned about the chartered accountants route, I remembered his words, but they encouraged me to prove him wrong. I wasn't going to go back to it, you were wrong, but the fact that he said I could was stimulus for me to kind of like,
you took it as a challenge.
I can. I'm gonna show. I was gonna show myself more than anyone that I can. And so that was really instrumental. It was hard. It was hard to work and study, but I had such a supportive structure, and it was always expected of us at home. I must say, my mother was a second generation teacher. So, teacher parents, they always drive you for academics, excellence, all of those things. So that really shifted everything for me. When I took that decision and started in the audit division and saw how much I had to do, I think I still had to do about 3 years of conversion to my Bachelor of Accounting Science through UNISA at the time. It was tough. It was tough. But I was not alone. I had peers. I had seen how people have come and gone through the system, how they'd fallen by the wayside, how they've given up, and how the honors year of trying to qualify as a CA really was a bottleneck. That's where it was a do or die. If you get through that, you'll never qualify. And I know so many people that to this day that had just given up at that time. So it was really hard, and I tried. I converted my degree, I finished my articles, and I was on my way. I was like, now I'm gonna do my postgraduate. And I gave it my best, as hard as I could, and I failed. I failed because I passed two modules and I failed 2 modules. And you have to do all 4. You have to pass all 4 of them at the same time in order to you to sit for your board exams. And perhaps that's also where, it was really at a crossroads. I couldn't think what I could do differently to have a different outcome during this correspondence. And it was my husband who said, no, I've just heard of a program at the University of Fort Hare. I found out everything I could. Here's everything, fill this out, fill that out. And I was spoon-fed into getting into the University of Fort Hare full-time.
Well, by that time, you this was chatty by that time.
I was married for 3 years at that time. God, we didn't have any children yet. So we could make different decisions. And he said to me, you just gotta go for it, because if you don't do it, you'll forever weigh up what if. And that's where I wanted to be in my life. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do it. I had really little choice because he had done all the spade work and made the HODs and fixed this with that. So I was in, basically.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that, I'm at Mazars now for 18 years.
Mm.
And what I'm going to share with you now is one of the things that changes the game in terms
Okay,
of
just hold there. That's what we're gonna come to you. Just hold that thought, because I want to bring Zama up so that she can tell us about her own post matric schooling, and then when we start with the job story, we start from the same level. So just don't lose that thought. But
Right.
for now, what we've learned, both of you are from ordinary townships. You're not received any what do you call that, silver spoons in your mouth. You grew up just like any one of us. Zama, please unmute your device and tell us after high school, where did you go? What did you do? I said you did food science and all of that. What sparked you in that interest?
Pat, in my time, there was no one who you could look up to except for nurses, lawyers, and you had teachers. So there was nothing else that was something that you could inspire to be. So I'll take just a step back. When we were in high school and we were in standard 9 at the time, and we were trying to figure out what we're going to do with your career. What are you going to do after matric? The only thing that I realized then is that, okay, I need to read. I need to read as much as possible what is out there and link that to what I'm passionate about and what I like to do. So I knew what my strengths were. I knew that I was analytical, I was logical, I was systematic thinking at the time. Now I'm using words adults use, but at the time I knew that I could solve mysteries. I knew I'm curious. I knew I was creative. I knew that I could plan. All these things I knew, okay? And I knew what I didn't like, okay? So when I was reading, and
you're one of the lucky few. You're one of the lucky few. Because many people don't know by the time they have to make that choice, but carry on.
No, I knew. I've always known who I am. That's one of the strengths that I have. I'm always so certain about myself and what my weaknesses and strengths are. It doesn't come, it's not hard for me. It's not, I'm really like that. So then there was a career guidance class, if you remember. Now it's called LO. That didn't give us much options, like what is going on. So the career choice I made was based on reading and imagining what that looked like. And in boarding school, we didn't watch TV, right? We only watched TV during weekends. So there's nothing there as well I can reference, except for Brooke Logan, who was wearing a white in the bold and the beautiful in the left. That was the only thing. So I thought, okay, this could be fun. She's pretty. Looks like she knows what she's doing. And it's linked to what I'm reading. So I applied, we started applying. But before that, in matric, because I was one of the students who were doing math, science, and doing well in those subjects. So engineering was starting out at that time. So all the big mining companies will come to high schools and start looking at top students. And then at the time, Bongiwe, the chartered accountancy field was starting to boom. So they needed Black people. So all of that came. So when that was happening, I'm doing tests and I'm applying for what I want. So you can imagine my parents don't have money, right? And then I get a bursary for like full scholarship for a chartered accountant to do. I've never done accounting in my life. So they were like, I need to do a bridging course. And then I'm like, what the heck is accounting? I was like, I don't know. So now I'm telling my mom, I don't know about accounting. My mom is like, you have a full scholarship. People are going to pay for you. Like, I don't have to stress about money. No, and I had to convince her, actually, I think I like science. I'm not going to learn accounting like in a year. And it's not something that goes with my personality. So this is me tracking the amazing career that you have, Bongiwe, that you have. And then I applied and then I applied for a food technology diploma in Durban. And then I got accepted, and then I started my career like that. And when I finished, when I finished, I was like, okay. But now for you to graduate, so the articles and all of that, I don't know why they do this to us. So for the diploma, for you to graduate, there's a year where you have to do in-service training.
Yeah.
So this is me walking and applying and knocking at industry and like trying to find a job because I'm not going to be able to graduate, right?
Yeah.
Nothing. Then finally, I go to the University of Natal, to the agriculture department, because I'm thinking I can do research, I can do, surveys, I can do lab work. And I go there.
By this time, you had finished your diploma.
No, I have not graduated. I can't graduate until I get that, right?
Okay.
And then, yeah, so I'm like, guys, I can work for free. You don't have to pay me. I'm going to work for free. Don't pay me nothing. And then my parents can't afford 2 taxi fares to and from, so it's 4 taxi fares. They can't afford it. So I have to walk in the morning 10 kilometers to 10 kilometers back every day, rain or shine, I'm there. The one thing I told myself during that time is that I am going to outperform everyone as if you are paying me. I am going to be this person that you are going to look at and go like, Flip, who is this girl? You are going to pay me for the value I add, because you do not want to lose me, because I'm changing the status quo in this varsity. Okay. So this is me 3 months in, I'm like 4 months. And then the United Nations gave us a big project. I'm like, money. So when I got money, I still elevated. And then I graduated finally. So that's my journey, like to get this head that everyone sees, and you have photos, and they don't realize what you go through to get to that moment. And you are so it was fun for me. I loved it. It taught me a lot.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. We're now at least in the same kind of level. So, Bongi, tell us about the journey into Mazars, or into industry. How did that happen? I mean, Zama is telling us now about her struggles to get in. Did you get in as a trainee, or how did that happen? And then you can tell us about your journey inside there. In fact, Zama, I liked your motto. I think you had a motto. Where is that motto? Is that
work at 150%?
Yes.
One day when you are like having babies like I did, and you are performing at 100%, no one is going to notice.
Wow. I like that. Perform at 150% so that when things are tough in life and you are not as present, people will not notice. Wow. That's beautiful. Let's come back to you, Bongi. Tell us about the start, and then you can pick up where you left, and then we can move to your work area.
Okay. When I first started working, I was working for a non-profit organization. I was a junior bookkeeper there, and it was a healthcare non-profit. Unfortunately for me, or fortunately, the year I joined was the year where they had financial instability. And at the end of that year, we were basically retrenched. So during that year, middle of that year, I was starting to look for a new job, etc. This is where I applied at Mazars as a bookkeeper. So I was in their accounting division, really you do books of different clients, you draft financial statements, you do their VATs and the taxes, etc. So that was what an accounting clerk did. And when I started the next year at Mazars, I remember that, I was excited to learn. I was eager. Everything was new, and my studies in my undergraduate, which was my national diploma in accounting, started to make sense. Okay. And I feel that for the first time, I could see how all the components of what I had studied were coming together and were being used in a practical format in far as work was concerned. So I was excited. And I was eager to learn. And 18 months into that role, I felt that I was stagnating. I felt like I was on top of it now. You know, what's next? You know, it was limited in its scope, and I felt no. So when you have a you gotta move. You
can feel it.
Yes, that's when I had a meeting with our human resources manager at the time, and I asked questions probably that I should have asked in high school about what is a chartered accountant, what do they do in the audit division, what does it all entail, and how can I qualify for all of those questions? And then reflected on that, and I made a decision that I'm gonna go for it. So it meant that I had to study further. I had to take my 3-year diploma, convert it into a accounting science degree, and then that's when I would do honors after that. I say when I was a trainee, it was a lot of learning. I had a good base though, because if you think about it, I had 3 years of experience as an accounting clerk, as a bookkeeper. So I could sit on the other side of the table, and now I was going to sit on the other side of the table and be an auditor, particularly audit the work that somebody like me would have done. And that's how I looked at it. So I studied and I worked. It was hard. And initially, I don't want to lie, I didn't take it that seriously. And so it took me longer to get my degree than what I had planned. And then, just tying up to really the year I had to finish my articles basically. But the one thing I can add in terms of that training was that I always worked with people who had a higher estimate of me in terms of my capability than what I had for myself. So the assignments that I would have been given were challenging. It needed me to stretch. It needed me to go the extra mile to execute it. And I was motivated to get it done correctly and more than correct. So I remember, very earlier on in those years, I was talking to my husband. I was saying I was deployed somewhere on secondment, and I had to use SAP, and I'd never been on a client on the SAP accounting system, and to a degree it was live. I still remember this day how I was printing the manual and studying it at night and going to the work environment in the morning. And I mean, there would be days I would just break down and cry because this was tough. This was tough. And there was such a high expectation for me to perform, And one day while I was, back in my office now and really doing some printing, one of the partners came by and says, "How's it going there?" And I said, "Well, it's kind of hard." And he says, "What are you thinking about?" Because the feedback we received is like phenomenal. I was like, "Oh." Wow. So all of those tears and those extra time to actually just get things done properly and self-learn, self-learn. You can redress the gaps that you have in terms of what your academics did not cover. So when I finished my articles and I was going to go into the University of Fort Hare now on a full-time basis, my husband and I had planned it out, and we decided I'm going to resign and then pursue this for a year, and then we'll make a decision thereafter. I still remember our managing partner calling me into a meeting and saying, "Well, I've heard probably from my manager at the time that this was my plan." I said, "Yes, because I really want to pursue this. Other alternative, etc." And she said to me, "How about we give you a sabbatical? We'll give you we'll give you data, we'll pay you your medical aid, we'll give you a stipend so that you can come back home and see your family." And you tell us what you need, we make it work, and when you're done, you come back. I was really blown away. I didn't expect it, I didn't ask for it. It was basically tabled in front of me, and I really was overjoyed to have that as a basis as I moved on. Of course, it added more pressure because I'm leaving my husband behind, and some other people are asking, are you nuts to really go and do this? And, you know, my friends and my family, just there was such a high expectation on me to make it.
Yeah.
I can easily repeat a pandemic year like 2020, but never that year. That's how hard it was for me as a person. And to contextualize it, I remember that one of the subjects I was not strong at was management accounting. And this time after, you know, you'd go for lectures 5 hours, you come back and you work probably another 7 hours, up to you really what you wanted to do. And really, there's a couple of small things that I put in place so that I could increase my chances of success. Number one, I exercised. For the first time, diligently exercised. We're staying in East London, Equipe, and I'd run alongside the ocean and I'd come back daily.
Beautiful.
Number two, I limited my food. I ate what is essential and what is healthy. Number three, I really was constant in my devotional life. And those things are what really kept me going, because it was really tough. It was really tough. I was afraid to fail.
Okay.
I was tormented at the idea that I could sacrifice so much and fail. So the residence that we're staying at, it was only honor students. All the people that were in my class were staying there. We were celebrating 21st birthdays, you know. I was back in res with that age group and I was 31 at the time. So really, I remember one day I went to bed and I was bothered that I couldn't solve a management accounting problem. When I woke up the next day, the vein in my eye had popped and my eye was blood red. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, either this is going to really kill me physically, I'm not going to make it out of this year, or I need a different approach, you know? And that's, I learned a little bit of balancing it out a little bit.
Okay.
Is to say it was a success.
Okay.
And to this day, if that year didn't happen, my career would have looked significantly different to what it looks like.
Okay. All right. Wow. You know, I'm just listening to what you guys are saying about this, and I hear. Sorry, just before I move, I hear that on Facebook it's not showing, but on my side here it's saying it's live on Facebook, and so I don't know what could be happening. But I think we will try and carry on because, you know, as I was listening to you, Bongi, and to you, Zama, and then we're going to come to Zama now. You tell about some of the struggles. Zama, you had to walk 10 kilometers. You have no money for taxis. And I'm just thinking of a youngster who's struggling. Bongi, we're talking about, you know, joining an NPO. You know, other people think that you start off at a corporate, big, high, beautiful office. You know, you got retrenched, you know, and all of that. But both of you have tremendous amount of initiative. You have tremendous amount of drive. And I want to read some of the messages that are being sent here by people. And then Zama, I come to you now, because I want to ask the question. Now you have joined the corporate company. How did your growth take place there? What did you do? What work did you do up until to where we are now? But I just want to read these messages because people write them here. Uyabuza umntu apha, I think uzinhle uthi ushaya, uyabuza ushaye wena Zama. Nami ndiyayothuka loo nto andikwazi ushaya. Usizo saying, hello Zama, which words were you at Tech Natal? All right. Usizo ngoke lacala naye. And then Uwilo says, awesome Zama. All right. You great ma. And then Opo uti, wow, 20K, that's amazing. And then comes back with so Zama, those legs have some serious mileage for real kilometers. And then Ashna, the Sina. And by the way, welcome Ashna. We are doing a course together with Ashna, and she graciously said she will join us. Thank you so much for joining. She says, powerful mindset, Bongiwe. And Usindi Mdleva, uthi awesome ladies. Cindy, so great to hear from you. Uthi awesome ladies. And then there's someone, HP 587, women power. And then Willow comes back, empowering ladies. Bongi, your work ethic demanded it. And then she comes back, Ashna, saying great balance, spiritual, emotional, somatic. Well, I mean, she's talking about the exercise, eating well, and all of that. And Ashna says, Zamaswaz, you earned your stripes. Now, that's great to hear when you started off on your career. Zama, now you went into Woolworths. What happened? Tell us the story. How did you grow from being a junior staff to being now a manager of a huge department?
You know, it's so weird to me as I'm listening to Bongiwe. Our stories are so parallel. It's actually not like, it's actually quite freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's so weird and different fields. But I mean, what you had to put in, and
yeah,
so you understand when I share
the
my
effort was amazing in both of you.
Yeah, like it's really mind-boggling for me. And so for me, when I graduated, Pat, and you were still in Pietermaritzburg when I graduated, and then so now I'm like thinking I'm going to chill. I'm tired. I've been at school for years and years and years. I need a break. So Black mothers don't do that. They don't take that. Break for what?
What gap year?
What's that? My mother comes back with a small piece of paper with an ad from Woolworths asking for technologist trainees, okay? I'm not in a mood to apply. So I write this letter and then I apply, okay? So it was national and they actually needed one person, okay, one. So I go there. You remember me, Pet, I was like young, just like long braids, like no care in the world, just living in my own little world in my mind. So
I remember very well.
I go there.
We used to go to your house, Sibeles fully fridge, and just eat. Your mother was a great cook as well.
Exactly. There was just no like, I'm like that even now, like it's weird. I'm exactly like my mother. So I have long braids and I go to this interview. It's at Hilton Hotel and they're asking me all kinds of questions. I'm like, this is my first interview. I don't know what's going on. So I answer and then at the end I'm bored. Now it's like 45 minutes in, so I have a short attention span. 45 minutes into the interview, and then I go and I say to Linda, and I'm looking around because I've never been into this such a fancy place, okay?
Yeah.
It was beautiful. And then I was like, wow, look at these paintings. Are you staying here? And I start chatting away, and I'm thinking I'm not getting this job anyway, so it's fine. Weeks later, then they tell me I must come to Cape Town. No, I have to tell the story. So you need to understand. Sorry, my children are causing me a bit of a thing here.
No, it's fine.
Anyways, I have to tell the story so people understand me as a person. I know people think they know me, that's here. So I've never been on a plane, okay, ever. Yes. I don't know what Woolworths does. I know they sell pajamas and towels, if you remember. And then they tell me I must present on deli foods. No. So deli for a Black child is polony, okay? Polony. That's it. And at the time, I'm thinking they're talking about yogurt. I think they're talking dairy. So they've made a mistake. So my whole presentation was on dairy. I've never been on a plane, so I have to come to Cape Town. I don't know where Cape Town is.
Wow.
I get there at the airport and I get my ticket and I'm thinking I'm waiting for a bus. Okay.
You probably don't even know someone in your family who'd been flying.
No one has ever taken a plane. This is the first time I'm experiencing this. Then they say, okay, Yeah, no, this is my ticket number. There I go, like literally like a bus. Go there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's the gate number. I'm walking in. Then they tell me, no, the gates are closed. I'm like, what do you mean? Open them. Open the. No, it doesn't happen like that. I said, no, it can. I need to be in Cape Town by 3 o'clock, so we need to open the gates. So now the stairs are off the plane, right? And then I go like, no, you make a plan. You make a plan. So this shows you the kind of person I am. It's a long story, but it shows you the tenacity and the. So I go like, you are going to open the gate. You're going to find me a car. You're going to get me on that plane. Okay.
Wow.
Then I'm going to be put back, and you are going to open the door. So then I come with the car, and the stairs are back, and then I'm in. I'm like, you are not. This is an opportunity. I go in, and then people are looking at me funny. I'm like, I don't know you. You don't know me. I don't care. I sit down. You know, Pat, you know where they dropped me. So, you know, they dropped me at Adelaide Street, Woolworths. My interview was at Woolworths House.
Yeah.
I don't know, Cape Town. So now my time, I'm like, but I'm supposed to be in an interview. That I showed them my letter. They say, no, you are in the wrong place. Literally, they drew a map for me. I've never been to Cape Town. I'm in high heels with a suit, okay? I'm late already. I ran from Adelaide Street. Without
you follow that map.
I follow the map to head office. I get there, I'm sweating. I need to present, okay? And then I go up to the 6th floor boardroom. The boardroom is full of people. At the time, we had transparencies, remember?
Yes.
So I go there, all of these white people are looking at me. I'm like, whoa, okay. And then I realized, no, I need an icebreaker. So I tell them this whole story. Wrong presentation, right, Sizo? Wrong presentation, everything is wrong. And then I tell them this whole story. So everyone is laughing now, icebreaker. And then I'm like, I just need water. Can I have water? And then they give me water, and I sit down and I tell them the story, the crazy thing that I am. And I go like, okay, now I'm ready. Come, I'll present. I stand up.
Yeah.
Wrong presentation. They say, Zama, you're supposed to present on Delhi. I'm like, what is Delhi? They're like, no, it's
dairy.
I thought it's dairy. I go like, no, yeah. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I can assure you my presentation on dairy is going to be fine. So I present. So I present the presentation seamlessly, very well done, very nicely. And then I thought, oh, I'm not getting this. Then I got the job. And then I got the job out of nationally. I got the job. The reason why I'm telling you the story, that kind of feeling, that kind of tenacity, that kind of not giving up, that kind of continuously wanting to improve, pushing the doors open. That is what made me to be where I am today, okay? Because when I joined and I sat in that seat, that is the attitude that was within me that did not need to be trained, did not need to be upskilled. I had it already. I had it in me. So everyone, every single manager that I had supported something that was already there. I never expected something. Sorry, Pat. I never expected something to be given to me. So
I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm saying.
Okay. So Woolworths gives me support, upskills me. Okay. So what they give me, let's say they give me 50%, I give back 70%. So it's not like, okay, shame, what? No, I deserve what you give me because I'm giving you more than as well. So it's a balance. And the spirit of, it's a balance, and a spirit of gratitude and appreciation and being thankful to God for opportunities and not taking things for granted and wanting to continuously learn and always wanting to be improving yourself. That's what makes you, that's what makes, because there are people who are clever. That's what makes someone successful and someone not successful. It's that thing. I just want to improve. I want to improve, and I'm thankful, and I have a humble spirit that wants to learn all the time. So,
and talking about learning, talking about learning, Zama, I see that even you furthered your studies. You did packaging. You did postgraduate studies in management practice. You did a management diploma. So you basically took opportunities to further develop yourself, even though you were already there.
Yes, and Pat, just to add on that, no one is going to push for you to grow.
Yeah,
they will support it, right? But you need to say, this is my gap. This is what I want. This is where I want to be in 5 years' time. What do I need to do to get there? Therefore, you go with a motivation to say, I want to be I want to be a product development manager one day. I realized that, okay, what do I need to do to get there? Then I went to my manager with a clear motivation. I need to study. I need to improve I need this, I need that, I need that. Maybe I'll get 3 out of 5. It's fine. But if you're going to sit and not open your mouth and not say what you want and expect people to come to you and be concerned about your growth, that's where things fall through the cracks.
Wow.
Always strive for continuous learning and you improving what you have in here and in here. Understand who you are, and then you'll be able and be true to who you are. Don't try to be anyone else. Don't try to measure yourself against anyone. You.
Yeah. And then, Zama, you come and tell us that you are shy. Yeah?
I am shy. It's because it's you.
You expect us to believe it. Let me stay with you and then I'll come back to Bongiwe now. I just want now for you to describe for our listeners, what do you do as a product management, as a product development manager? What is your job? I mean, you're looking after groceries, households. Just briefly, what is that? What does that entail?
Oh, Patrick. Let me explain it like this. We need to come up with a strategy of what the customer needs. So it's all about meeting the customer expectation and exceeding them in innovative products, closing gaps, and making sure that we're always ahead of the market. This encompasses product, we call it product, and what you see in store in terms of service and how you experience the brand, that is Woolworths. Everything is intertwined into the circle. In the center of it is being protective of the quality of the product. Okay. Because quality, Woolworths is trusted for quality. Okay, we're trusted for making sure that what we say is actually what we mean. I can assure you, everyone who's on this call, it's hard work. I'm summarizing it into two sentences, but if you look at the categories that I've mentioned, the only way I can explain it to you, from besides the fridge and the chocolates and the biscuits, okay, and the frozen, everything that you see it comes through this mouth or through this nose, so that it's approved, so that you see it on the shelf. Nothing gets displayed on that shelf without me signing it off with my name and my signature on there. So the reason why this is so powerful, this is so humbling for me, is that it's taken a long time to actually have a black PDM. And now with transformation that people are coming through, and I'm like so excited. So every time people go like, we're Eurocentric, remember that a black person is sitting at that chair, putting those things in there. You can eat it as well.
Okay.
You can. So that's how I'm summarizing.
Wow, but this is amazing, because sometimes you see you guys going into these big companies, really trying to figure out, and the young girl out there think, what are they doing inside there? Bongi, tell us about you guys have tremendous amount of resume. I mean, you let me just read on some of the things here. Bongiwe, is that you are a member of a national governance council. You are involved in sustainability issues. You represent Mazars at group level as a member of the global leadership team for sustainability In fact, you even invited me to go to one of your big sustainability meetings. I enjoyed that because I'm also involved in sustainability. Tell us, what do you do at Mazars, and how was that growth for you? How did you experience it?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think as I try to answer it, I'll bridge a comment, possibly on a question that is sitting on somebody's mind. I qualified as a chartered accountant,
yes.
Stayed in audit up until I was an audit manager, where we run different portfolios of our clients, from planning the job, supervising the staff, and really interacting with the client and until it's concluded and we have a signed off audit report for that. I really loved that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I never thought I'd really move away from it. There came a time where I woke up one day and I was asking myself a different question, what's next? When you have migration restlessness, as I call it, what's next, what's out there? This is what moved me from the audit side of the business into the consulting side of the business, where I showed an interest that actually I think, I've reached my sell-by date in terms of the value I can add here. I'm more wanting to find out now, how does that side of the business work?
Yeah.
That, and how can I, be involved in something that looks different. And I was
you're curious. You want to get involved. You want to grow. Amazing how similar.
It's one of our values here at home. Be curious. Ask questions, wonder. That's how we grow. And therefore, I was afforded that opportunity. I took up a conversation on career pathing, and I was like, this is what I want to explore. I'm quite emphatic, emphasizing on that word, because I had nothing concrete to build, to say I can make it in advisory. But I think that my track record within the organization really made them to be able to give me the opportunity. And when I started in advisory, I was still looking at technical accounting concepts for our clients and etc. And I remember getting a little bit involved into the public sector, narrative, etc., etc. And it didn't really spark my joy, I must say. And now I want to touch on something that's really phenomenal, because I bumped into a friend of mine on a particular morning. I bumped into a friend of mine and she said to me, hey, I have a meeting with somebody and it's kind of in advisory. So why don't you join us? It's about sustainability, And I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. I could make it in that afternoon. And that's how I started getting involved in terms of sustainability, and I had to have a discussion after I'd looked at it, after we got excited, after we kind of saw how we could table this in terms of our exco and really convince the company that we need to invest in this and build this as a service line for our clients, except it looked completely different from what I had been trained to do in terms of a chartered accountant. And it meant that I had to, I had to self-learn into a totally different topic, a big topic, and do it quickly so that we can be able to turn it around into a client service that makes money, puts money on the table.
You have to learn about things like concepts like triple bottom line,
precisely,
all those kinds of things.
Yeah, precisely. I remember quite distinctively, I had a meeting with my managing partner and the head of audit, and they asked me, but Bongiwe, are you sure this is what you want to pursue? But that time I was a senior manager, and as a senior manager, the next step is being a partner, but you have to have a path that you can own, that you can drive, that can add value, that can bring value into the business, and that can grow the business.
Okay.
So I remember, because the opportunity of sitting in that meeting came at a time where I was specifically praying for a new opportunity, a new direction. And I was not specific to God. I said, even if it's outside of Mazars, I'll take it, but need something else.
Mm.
So I remember my response being to them, I'm more excited than afraid. It was the first time that I could utter those words and own it. And that's the decision that we took. I mean, fast forward from 2016 to now, 2021. So currently, I'm the head of department in South Africa for business sustainability, as well as human resources advisory. What we basically do is to advise businesses on how to run a responsible business and how to interface sustainability at the core of their business strategy, and what that means for them. When we're looking at the business, the money side of things, we also look at the social dynamic. Do you have sufficient succession planning? How are you doing with transformation? How are you engaging with the community? And what does the wellness of your employees look like? This is what the bottom line looks like. It's a 360 degree view. And I had to pursue myself in this field, and also, you know, be accredited as a carbon footprint analyst, so that we can measure. It's a carbon footprint. A carbon footprint is what is your impact on the environment, on the basis of your business about. So that's the triple bottom line that we engage. So what I do on a daily basis, I know this is going to sound elevated, but I only, you know, engage at big level because we're talking about strategy. So you know, I can't have a conversation at a level below that, because they don't have the decision-making ability or the influence with their business strategy. So it's either the CEO, the CFO, or the COO of the business at minimum that we would engage at, and we get in, understand the business, have a review, a complete diagnostic, and then point out what are the main things in terms of where you lack or where the gaps are and the opportunities are for your business, and then design a solution for them to transit towards their best version while making profits, you know. So that's quite instrumental in what we do. And it will also assist businesses to compile their sustainability reports, measure their carbon footprint, quantify what value we have added, how it looks like, help them engage with their stakeholders holistically. This for me is the sustainability side of things, and the human resources side of things is also a client-facing division that looks at your organizational development and leadership, and are you geared to achieve your goals through your people, and this we are able to help you. So these through divisions is really what I look after. But what does it mean? You know, you service the client. You put up a budget every year, say this is the money I'm going to bring into this division. You service the client, you bill the client, you collect the money. You're running a business in a business, and that's the division as a partner. And therefore, it's been absolutely phenomenal for us ourselves as Mazars to put ourselves through the strategy. That's what gives us credibility to say now that we've, since 2018, brought it in and felt and experienced and, you know, grown with it and full sometimes, but we engage with it because we constantly want to do better and be better. So that's what I basically do, you know, at every other interval. So I have a team. On a day-to-day basis. Yeah, so I work with a team beneath me. And I can say every single person in my team is a high potential individual, good attitude, good attitude. They turn things around quickly. They're highly responsive. It's not meant that you have a high performance team. You know, every Monday morning, I'll put a topic on and challenge them on something that has nothing to do with work. Like 3 weeks ago, we're discussing unconscious bias. Why would I discuss unconscious bias with my team? Because I want them to contribute from their authentic self so that they can bring something that looks completely different to what I've thought about. And that's part of the solution. That's the real space that we are in. Yeah. So I like to think that I'm really passionate about privately held businesses and owner managed businesses. That's up to 80% of the businesses that we have in this country. And they're not just gonna be able to grow. They are going to grow sustainably with intent and focusing on this big picture. And so embedding those principles within those businesses is so rewarding. You know, everyone is talking about ESG, environmental, social, and governance, because we've gone through a pandemic. It's a process of rethink, and then, but how? How can you do it? So what I pride myself as a professional is that it's practical delivery. I'm not academic exercise and says, here's a thesis of what we have delivered for. It's practical. And interface.
So basically,
yeah.
So basically, it's not about being a pretty face, a pretty black face, a pretty black woman's face. It's about providing value for both of you, in fact. You know, it's about providing value and being respected for the value that you provide. Wow.
I just want to say, if you're plugged into something that you're passionate about, it is almost possible for you to excel. It's almost impossible, because when it is for your time to log off, you're going to switch off. You're not going to think about it. You're not going to think about what you do. But when you are fully passionate and invested in what you do, what you deliver, believe in it wholeheartedly. Even when I'm chopping onions in the kitchen, I never log off. I never switch off it. You know, I think about, somebody put it perfectly for me, says, as advisors, do not fall in love with your solution, love the problem.
All right.
That's what I love. Wow. I love the problem, so that I can be agile in the solution that I deliver, because the solution is nothing with the problem to solve. And therefore the capacity that we have in terms of adding value into this ecosystem, absolutely phenomenal.
Wow, wow. Bongi, I think we're going to take this matter forward a bit. You guys can speak so well. I mean, you take concepts, both of you take things and you find ways of putting it in such a way that someone like me and the listener and the viewer can actually understand. But also, we've taken the journey from really humble beginnings. We've gone up to the strategic board level stuff, where Bongi, you're making these decisions, Zama, you're making sure that the food that we eat comes through and it can be verified. I just now want to go back to our viewers so that we can keep track with them. I can't keep track of the viewers on Facebook yet. I haven't seen if there are comments there. All right. So I just want to make sure that I read, because both of you take your personal growth in your own hands. You don't seem to be waiting for others. All right. And then Utige Omnia Apa, wow, there are so much similarities in the stories of a black child. The person does not have a name, but I can see their phone number. Uti Usindiena, you are sick, my friend. I think she was just making a comment about some of the things that you said there, Zama. Wilo said tenacity and persistence. These are words that describe both of you guys. And then Ashna comes back to say, Zamaswazi, I love your personality, honor yet profound, humor yet profound determination, resilience and fortitude. Remain blessed. And then Wilo, self-motivation and a clear set of objectives. Awesome. And undu tuyona pikoli au makateni, what powerful stuff, Zama. And then Ashna comes back to say, Bongiwe, high achiever with a humble heart. Thank you for sharing your wisdom there. Know your outcome, take action, test and measure. Wow. I mean, people are taking words that are coming from you. Sometimes I'm sure you're saying these things normally, but I mean, they mean a lot. I mean, they're tremendous. Ashna comes back to say, Zamaswazi, I trust you with my allergies. You're signing off quality. That's a good one there, Ashna. That's a good one. And then mindless restlessness, beautiful words. I think you said that, Bongi, when you're talking about your mindless restlessness. I mean, I mean, migration restlessness. Sorry about that. It's amazing. Unsiki Masiba says, Zama's tongue is probably insured by Woolies. Tell us how much is your tongue worth, Zama, in insurance?
A whole lot.
Mbunge, the husband to Bongi, says, please take note that as much as both ladies presenting today have high work ethic, very disciplined, and excelling in their craft, both are very kind, God-fearing, caring, and loving. And I will come back to this issue of God-fearing, because I hear you talking about prayer, talking about God, and to ask you the question, how is your spirituality helped you in your career? And Ukajeni continues and says, I am witness to their kindness. Zama gave me shelter in her house when I did not have accommodation. Wow. It was me and my friend Bongiwe accepted my proposal to marry me. So as they say, the rest is history. That's a beautiful story there, Kajeni. And Wilo comes back to say, unlearn, relearn Bongi and Zama. And so Nuta Babes, the husband to Zama says, on point thereof, I think he is confirming what Ukajeni said about his wife. And then comes back Willow to talk about coaching, delivery. And they both take the cookie jars from the top shelf to the bottom shelf for us to eat. And Penny Brink, welcome, Pastor Penny, says, I think women do this well, being passionate about the problem. That's another concept, Bogi, that you shared today. You're passionate about the problem, not just trying to sideline it, but with a solution too quickly. Very good. Thank you so much, Penny. Tababes comes back to say, powerful tongue, Tsiki, I tell you. And you know. All right. Thank you so much, colleagues, the people that have written in here. It's really fascinating. The time is moving so fast. We only have a few minutes left. But I do want to come back to the issue, Zama, of I'm sure you must have faced challenges in your journey. And so let's talk about the challenges, not just at work at Woolworths, but just along the career and the role that what you seem to be quite God believing spiritual person. How did that spirituality support and help you? And what other support structures or systems do you have? It's a question for you and for you, Bongi.
Pat, one thing that in the 80s, one thing that was done very well was a very strong foundation in understanding the Bible, understanding prophecy, and understanding what you want. So I'm a very curious being. So for me, it wasn't about being an Adventist. So I've read about Hinduism, I've read about Muslim, I've read about other religions, I've actually engaged in understanding other religions and cultures and so on. So the fact that today I'm a Christian that is a Seventh-day Adventist that belongs to this congregation that is called Seventh-day Adventist, but I believe in Jesus Christ. So we need to be careful as SDAs that we must believe in Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? That's the first point. So for me, that is the crux. That is the crux for me. And like I told you earlier, I went to a boarding school that was not Adventist. And I remember, because I was the only Adventist there, the pastor, so they call them father. Father will say, like, we're at the chapel. I followed the rule. We're at the chapel. I'm listening to the sermon. And then he comes up and goes, oh, well, there's someone here who doesn't believe that we should worship on a Sunday, and they think they know better, and we should worship on a Sabbath. They call it Sabbath, like this, like, stand up. They used to call me Charity. Stand up, Charity, stand up. Like, it's full, okay? The hall is full. So this is kind of embarrassing. So I stand up. No, but not for me. I tells you a lot about me. So I stand up, I go like, what's wrong, what's up? And then he goes, hey, so this is me throwing scripture at him. Facts. And then it goes like, but you are being, now why are you engaging? And I said, but the thing is, you have put me in this situation where I have to engage on this topic now. So you need to have your facts straight as well. I was respectful. I'm in a battle. I don't believe on Sunday, but I'm here. You know what I mean? So now you have opened an engagement session. So after that, this was me at the, if you understand boarding school life, in the common room. This is me on top of trunks, just going, just talking about Christ, just rebelling. So what I'm trying to say, for me, the integral part of me that is not negotiable is my belief in Christ. And the decisions I make at work or who I work for. So people ask me, why haven't you moved? Why haven't you? I have been poached. But when I look at the value system of other businesses, they clash with my one. They clash with my value system. So when I look at the value
system, you take
system,
your belief system quite well, quite strongly.
Every decision I make starts there. Every decision I make starts there. What comes out of my mouth starts there. What decisions I make starts there. Let me make an example for you how I lead. So I have a team. It's Christian leadership, good leaders. If they were Christians, they will understand what I'm saying. You listen, you respect, you ask if people are okay. What is that? What that is Christian, that is being a Christian. Are you okay? In having empathy. How can I help? Everything else happens, but if you don't have that, if you don't have that, people have no respect for you. If you don't have humility, and if you have the I think it's a problem. Self-centeredness is a problem. So where is that coming from? It's coming from the Christian values that I have. Make a decision, Pat. I don't make a decision without prayer. I don't make a decision without fasting. I don't make a decision without consulting God. And if something has to happen for me, God will make it happen, and there will not be any roadblocks. It will not be hard. If it is hard, I am exacting energy, a lot of energy, of my own energy. It's the wrong thing for me. Then I stop, and I go like, God, why am I sweating? I shouldn't sweat if this is supposed to be mine. No, I don't sweat, darling. I should not sweat. Give it to me. Make it happen. You know what I mean? Make it happen. If it's supposed to be mine, remove the boulders. I don't want no boulders. Remove them. I don't want to sweat. I don't. So
tell me, Zama, about some of the challenges that that were there. Maybe a few of them but you've been able to overcome, so that a person who's listening out there can say, it's not like where you happen just smoothly.
No. Listen, Pat, if you remember, I joined the business when, this is going to sound, I don't know, let me just say it. It was very white. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what happened is that I was a food technologist, and we had 2 product developers that looked like me. So I always ask myself, why is this the case? What's going on? And what's happening? And at the time, I realized that there's a disjoint. This is a challenge. There's a disjoint on us. So we used to call it then foodie. You have to be a foodie. So I asked for a definition of being a foodie. What does it mean? Does it mean that I need to understand the risotto? Or I need to, what's wrong with pap? And, isn't that being a foodie? Isn't that, I battled with that. And then I said to myself, I'm going to change careers. I am going to change careers. I'm going to be a product developer. So Woolworths in 2010, remember, I don't have no qualification. In 2010, Woolworths was going through a huge restructure. And then we had to put 3 options. And then I didn't put technology anyway. I said product developer 1, product developer. And I was like, I'm getting it. Yeah. Okay. And they're like, what are you doing? Hey, I said, yeah, I'm doing it. the reason why I did that, and
Yeah.
it's something that I wrote down in 2010, my objective was to make sure that the Black child, the doors are open for a Black child at Woolworths. And I needed people to understand how much we can make, like, what's the impact? What is it that you can bring to the table? It's different. It was hard. Believe me, it was hard. I was not qualified for it. It was hard. I was in prayer most of the time. It was not easy. And the journey continued. And I was like, God, the only way I will know that I've done what I needed to do, because you need to understand I was always the first black, is when one day there's someone who looks like me and there are two of us, there are three of us. And then, and me, I'm putting myself under pressure. I will not fail. I will excel. I will continuously strive for success. It's fine. I'll take that pressure. Excellence. I'll take that pressure for the Black child. So when I spoke to my coach last year, and she was like, Zama, what's going on? I said, I am tired. It's been 10 years. I'm tired. And she said to me, but why are you still doing it? Because there are 20 people. There are 20 people now who looks like you've done it.
Wow.
It's
wow. That is why we call this program Trailblazing. Because I mean, that generation had to open doors that were closed for many years. Yes. And they were part of people that had to, as you say, absorb the pressure so that others don't have to do that.
You don't have to. Black child, doors that have been opened by Pat here, by Zama, by everyone who's here who's older than you. You have to grab it and you have to make it your own. Make it your own.
All right. Bongi, let's come to you. Just tell us about some of the challenges and what role spirituality plays in your journey.
All right, thank you for that. I think, you know what, when it comes to challenges, challenges are plenty. And they not only come from one dynamic, they come from all sorts of life. Home, community, raising children, being an aunt or daughter to someone. It's a sum total. It will never come at a convenient time when you think, I think I'm open to challenges now. So it will always be unexpected, you know. and you know what? I think that for women, even before you come to African women, there's a long way for us to go. In corporate South Africa, in the public sector, in the nonprofit space, wherever you look. I think that the conversation of equity is a necessary conversation, pertinent in the time that we live in, but we cannot tackle it with the lens of individualism. We have to tackle it with the lens that's looking into the future. So all of us now that are conversing over these issues have a higher mandate to shift. Our children mostly will, for the first time, be the first generations that grows on the realm of some kind of privilege. But how do we make sure that that privilege actually spreads to the ordinary child as far as wide as possible? And this pounds the challenge of the dynamics that we are in. And therefore, you know, what has been instrumental in my career growth has been the value, the credible value of champions. People who would advocate for you, you know, because you have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and advocate for you to get into the next level. I was just now talking about coaches. It's essential to have a coach. It's essential because that's the person who is not biased to you as a person, will tell you something that you like or would not like in a professional manner, will be your mirror and be the person that allows you to think and build your block towards a version of you. So coaches are absolutely fundamental. Financial freedom is, if you do not have it, there are some decisions in life that you will never be able to take because you don't have financial freedom. So it's something that Black people have got to strive for. I'm not talking only about people who are earning 100,000 a month or 10,000. Even if you have 1,000, get to a place of financial freedom very quickly. So you can be able to have the freedom and the diversity to take decisions that are necessary at the time, because you don't have baggage of this thing pulling you back all the time. It does mean that you have to live a life of sacrifice and moderation and take your income and pitch it below your means. Pitch your lifestyle well below your means so that you can have opportunity. I remember that when I went to study in Victoria, I had a Thabo Mbeki fully funded scholarship from the first year. So I was carrying it forward that year. I didn't necessarily have the money to get to etc. But one of the experiences in my life that have really shifted my thinking in terms of financial freedom was when I was in town with my mother. I was supposed to get on a bus to Pretoria. We didn't have the money. We were struggling at the time. And she went to a small office, a loan shark. She left her ID book. She left a bank card so that she could have money to put me on a bus. That changed my relationship with money forever. Two decisions that have emanated out of there is that I will never pitch my life at a higher equilibrium than what my earning is. Because it's not sustainable. So that is a life event in my life. We should have the privilege to pray and to think without the pressure to take a decision that we cannot afford to take. Now, don't build a reserve for yourself and your family, and you are incapable of taking those decisions as they come. So I've never been able to say, okay, let me resign so that I can go and study full time. Would have never been able to say when we're the whole band of what we were as audit seniors was being retrenched, would have never had the calmness to say, let's pray about it. The outcome, we'll take it as God's will. We would never been able to move and check on certain decisions. So it is fundamental to the shift that we need to move going forward, because so long as we seek for externalities that can cover our nakedness, it is a void. It is something that will always be a drawback in our lives. So financial management is a topic on its own. Let me end it there.
But just before you end it there, Bongi, because I think you basically hit a raw nerve, because what normally trips us, especially with Black executive, new guys that are coming in, is that big car, that big expenditure, so that friends can see I'm now moving into this corporate. Those big debt that people build up, that basically disturb their personal financial growth, you know. So I think it's a very, very important thing to say, especially for people that are still coming up. They must not be taken up by this idea of I've made it, therefore I should look like this. I have gold, I have this, you know.
It's a point for constant prayer. It's a point constant prayer. It's not a always save kind of scenario, because we are fallible. I'm a sinner. In me is a seed that says I want to be better than. But that's exactly why we submit all of those things to Christ, so that he can center us. Because you see, it is in our natural sinful state to want to show off, to want to look like, but you have got to ask God to ask you to squash that seed so that it may not germinate in your life. The kind of decisions that you take have got to be plain and pure. And that's where we are, so that we don't lose focus. The focus we are after is that for the child who is a Black female sitting at the bottom of the food chain, must find value in their core identity first and foremost, as in by Jesus. Then the rest is really a slam dunk. Two things that I really want to achieve in my life as a mother, and as we have two goals. Number one, that they may choose to accept Christ as their personal savior. That's number one. Number two, to make them as fearless as possible for as long as possible, because people are not afraid to try. People are not afraid to think. People who are not afraid to put themselves out there attempt more, and by virtue of attempting more, have the privilege of actually landing at a center that's quite meaningful to them. How many dreams can fear put to the grave? It's not that we are not ambitious enough in our thoughts, but our mind limits us by what we feed the mind. So somebody might ask, how do I align myself to be at the level of Bongiwe or Zama or Bill Gates or whoever it is that you aspire to be? We have got the privilege of getting an incremental value of taking good decisions. What are good decisions, Rapet, is to get up in the morning, not snooze your watch. It's to brush your teeth. It's to get into the shower. It's to get ready for the day. It's to get on the bus and go look for a job. It's to pick up a book and read a book. It's to choose not to eat A, but eat B. All of us have got the capability of taking small decisions which are good for ourselves. The compound effect we will forever reap into the next generations.
Wow.
So we are setting up a platform that's quite foundational and sustainable for us to benchmark the generation that must come after us, because we are coming from lack. And therefore, that's why we want these big cars and big houses, because we want to fill that void. It's a void that has to be addressed by the life of Jesus. So I want to say that John 10 verse 10 takes shape and form for me more and more as I teach it to my kids. It says the enemy has come to steal, to kill, and destroy, but Jesus comes so that we may have life and have it more abundantly. You know, an abundant tree is one that is overflowing with fruit in its center and below the tree. Everywhere you look, it does not lack. That's the kind of life that has been presupposed for us. But for as long as we walk on the parallel of where Jesus wants us to be, that is not our portion.
All right.
Say, in terms of what we do, in terms of work, it has got to fit into the bigger picture of who you are, because we have a purpose and mandate to fulfill that is far bigger than any paycheck. So,
all right.
Put it aside. Put aside what other expectations of people have of you. Put it aside. But pray on it, because today you might not buy that big car. You have succeeded, but maybe tomorrow you will, because you have succumbed. So this Christ comes in. You say, Lord, I'm bringing you into my small decisions so that you can center me, so that I cannot be swept with the wind. You know, the decisions we take are informed by the Holy Spirit. That's what alone. We are never alone.
All right. Wow. Zama, I want you to just pick up where Bongi started on this issue of people want to be like the neighbors. Just, you know, just pick up there, because I also know that you have strong views on that one. And then we're going to wrap it up nicely, because we've come to the end.
Yeah.
I don't know where the time went.
I know, hey, and I was so fearful. This is a lot of fun. I'm learning so much as well. You know, Pat, you know, you must never live your life according to other people's rules or standards. You must live your life according to what makes you happy. I started there, even with career, even with anything. You must strive to be better than yourself. The minute you start comparing yourself to others, that's a problem. The minute you feel that your measure is measured against something else, that's a problem. Okay. You know, Pat, you drove your City Golf for how many years? You could afford another car, but I was annoyed with the car of yours. And then, and then I drove my Hyundai Getz for a long time, for a very long time. And then I still stay in Summer Greens. And then I thought, oh, and then there was this, you know, when you feel like there's this pressure that is coming on the side that goes like, but Zama, I could have developed a measure. Why are you staying here? And this voice is the Satan that is talking on the left here. Hey, why are you not moving? And then I was like, then one of my friends said, Zama, don't you have a roof over your head? Do you have rooms for your kids? Do you have this? Do you have a yard? Do you have this? So what is the issue? What is the exact? Why do you want this? What is the reason for? Because if your reasons are skewed, it will never be a blessing to you. It can't be. It can't be a blessing to you. Pat, and this is a big problem that we have as what do they call us, clever blacks, if I can call it that. It's all about, and unfortunately, our children are fed by social media and what happens and what the view of success looks like. So the view of success is moot, is Bentleys, is big houses, it's all these things. You know what? Our children different. Exactly what Bongi said, being settled in Christ. Everything that comes out of your mouth, every action. I'm not a preacher like Bongi, but every
so well.
No, I feel like I'm like, in any case, everything that comes out of your mouth, every action you take, the way you think, the way you dress, the way you act, the way you do all of these things, if they come from Christ-centeredness, they will be humble, they will be selfless, you will give more, you'll see other people's needs before your own, you'll be able to live within your means, all these things that makes you not sleep at night. If you are single, you'll find a man if you want a man. If you don't want a man, it's cool. Ask me, I married at 35, not a big deal. So all I'm saying is everything comes from Christ. Accept Christ first. Everything else will open up to you. Everything. Wow. And that's all I'm going to say on the matter. I think Bongiwe, like I'm inspired. I'm going to listen to this recording again because I'm stressed. So
and by the way, let me just remind our viewers that this platform basically that we have here is a platform that we have most Sundays at 2 o'clock in order to inspire one another. You know, as I'm listening to the people that I interview here, I'm inspired, I'm challenged, I'm informed, you know, I'm motivated. And basically this platform is about that. It's about changing. It's a moment of insight and growth. And today we've received that from our two guests, Zama and Ntlantsana, as well as Bongiwe Mbunge. And I just want to, as we wrap up, guys, because I see that we have actually come to the end of our time. I want to say, to read these things here that people have said. I hope I have not missed any of the, sorry. Okay, I left out Uta Babe Sumi Nwako Zama was saying strong tongue. Yes, so I want to read from there. Leadership qualities of Christ, action Zama, go Zama, put God first. And then Galaxy says, how many people consider the company's values first ahead of money? That's so amazing. That comes from one of the viewers here. And then Penny Brand is back, a very important mission that opening doors with professionalism and honesty, Willow. And then, so it was you who put Umosho in cans at Woolworths. That's what Penny says.
Me.
Was it? Was it? Wow, 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 wow. So at least now we can have what we normally eat. That's the one thing that others battle with. You go to a restaurant, but you can't find what you normally eat as a South African. But you get Greek everywhere. Yeah, so
I'm going to try to get tripe in because that takes forever to cook.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Then Uwilo says, Zama, you see in Viva says, Bongi and Zams, I salute you, continue shining. And then Ulerato Maske says, I love you girls, ground bakers and game changers. To God be the stewardship of money attitude. That's and then Ashwash comes back to say, Amen and amen. Powerful message relating to our relationship with money. Thank you, Bongiwe. Again, Ulerato comes back, power right there. These my girls. And you know, there's so much that is coming through. It's impossible to read everything. Untutu, Bongi, has a way of hitting the nerve when listening to her. You know, one of our guests came last week. She actually sent me a message to say that Unati, to say that we have a way, and I think we can see that of putting able to read all of this, but we remember the stories. I remember very well the stories that you talk about, how people like you know, drove the same car when other people had the same expectations, you know, that you must change because you're now all of a sudden. So it's amazing how these things mean a lot in the bigger scheme of things, because we are here trying to lay a good example for our children and our sisters and our cousins and so on. I'm not gonna, I think you, both of you are mothers, committed mothers who love your girls. We're not gonna have time to get there just to find out how you balance things up. But I will give you a chance. I will give you a chance just to make a last few remarks, just briefly, in whatever area you want to take. Let's start with you, Zama, and then we can take it from there. The last comments, the last wrap up.
Thanks, Pat. My last comment to everyone who's watching or who's got anyone they can share this message with is just keep going. Just keep going. Keep your head high. Believe in yourself. Believe that you can do anything you put your mind to. God didn't put you here to fail. Find your purpose and hold on to it, and live life that is God-fearing. Let's give more. I think give more of yourself. See when there's a need, because when you give, you receive a whole lot more. Open your heart up. And for young children, there was a question you didn't ask actually, which I wanted to
please get to it. Yes.
My last thing, if I were to tell young people what they should do, like, I don't know, I don't remember the structure of it, but what I would say to young people, always strive for excellence. Excellence is not measured by A's, it's measured about how you see yourself. Let's say, for example, you are at 40, your excellence is getting to 50, 60, okay? And know that when you are consistently excellent in your excellence, you are going to be successful. Don't wait for people to give you stuff. Walk into those doors, keep on walking in, don't give up. We're living in a very difficult time. And we see, I'm sure Bongiwe will tell you as well, we see trainees coming in, young people, our own Black children that are disappointing us in a corporate sector. So I'm very passionate about this, that when you are given a chance and you are given an opportunity, be grateful, humble yourself, learn,
and work hard,
learn, and ask questions. Do not have fear of rejection. Your ideas are sufficient enough. So that's what I wanted to learn to young, because that concerns me as a parent when I see what we're getting in now. I'm sure Bongi will see it as well. It is sad what our children are doing in the corporate space. It's actually quite embarrassing. So if you can learn that message with them, my job is done here. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Zama. Bongi.
Thank you so much, good Pet. You know, I just want to make 2 contributions. I'll limit them to 2 contributions.
Okay.
Number one, I want to speak to my peers in terms of other professionals. You might not be in the corporate environment, you might be an academic or in a non-profit, wherever you are. Be a little bit kind to yourself. There is a dark side to excellence. And that dark side to excellence is very demanding if you don't know how to center and balance it. A high performance attitude is necessary, but you have got to be able to recover when things don't go your way. You also have to be able to not let the fear of potential failure make you not enjoy the journey towards success, because that is as That is what will send people into depression when they don't achieve their superficially high standards. So exercise of kindness to yourself. I'm saying this specifically for women who are juggling a lot of hats. You know, my husband will get into the pool with the girls and they will religiously call for towels when they're already in the pool. But we know as when you are going to get in the pool, you first make sure that everything, you know, is
there.
up. So our brains are forever in motion. And this is where Christ helps us to slow down and actually contextualize peace. We have to be able to tap into the peace because God does not want us to be exasperated. The second point, which is my final point that I'm going to make, is that we have got to be able to understand the dynamic that our children are growing up into. We are sending them to schools where they are the minority. Most times they come back and they refuse to speak their language. We have to understand that people who look like them at the school are the caretakers. Who wants to speak that language when the language of authority is something different? So we have to be kind to them. And also this then comes into a practical dynamic for us. Make space to be visible as you parent your children. Turn down some of the meetings so that you can go sit there as a librarian and do support for the schools in the passage so that every other child who looks like you going past can see that there's a mother like me here. And did that for Kazimla's grade 1. I remember one of the young boys there was excited.
Wow.
Up his name, because I called up his name and I said, Nobile. You know what? He said, what? Who are you? You know how to say my name. You know, in the passage, he was overjoyed. You know, it's a small thing, but that shows them that we are in the spaces, in their spaces that matter. It gives them confidence and the permission to be who they authentically can be. And that's the future that we want to enrich, a future that where everybody can contribute into. And as God allows us to magnify in those spaces, you know, what we can ask for, God delivers unto us tenfold.
Wow. Sure. Wow. What a powerful session. In fact, I thought we were going to have chance for people to make comments or like voice here, but I don't know if we have the time now. And I know that there's a lot of sports going on and so on. And I want to apologize for not allowing for that time for people to ask questions verbally. But I tried to read as much as I could all the comments that were coming through. Because, I mean, people are so inspired, Bongi, now is it's amazing. I'm also inspired. And we're going to collect these. We're going to have a YouTube channel where all these videos are going to be put there so that people in their own time can go back. This evening, we're also going to do a group, what is that, watch, group watch, where people can watch this thing again so that everybody can understand that, you know, these things that we're talking about are happening. When people say, be excellent, it's not an airy-fairy thing. There are people who are living it, who have lived it, where we can actually see, touch them, phone them, talk to them, and all of that. So I really want to thank you for that. The message here says, thanks, Ted, for inviting me to listen to these powerful ladies. Kind regards, Kenele. Thank you so much, Sisi. She's one of the, we're doing a coaching course at UCT Graduate School of Business, and she's here as well together with Ashna. Thank you, Patrick, for this brilliant initiative. Thanks, Ashna. Remain blessed, all your endeavors. And Usizo comes back to say true, Zama. And okay, we can see here that there are some comments. I'm skipping some of those comments that are coming from people that have spoken before. Babes, Zama's husband, says, Thanks, Kakeni, for the powerful program. God bless. Thank you to you, Kwati, and to you, families, for supporting these ladies and making sure that they succeed and thrive in their barriers. So, ladies, again, thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to all our viewers and our listeners. And I invite you to keep supporting this platform, Kulati Coaching and Consulting on Facebook. You can find Patrick Kulati. You can watch other videos there of other people. We're going to bring different people from different industries and different perspectives. We talk about family, we talk about corporate, we're talking about personal development. We talk about masculinity, we talk about all range of issues. So please invite your friends, make sure that you're part of us. Thank you again. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. You can now go to the beach in Cape Town. Thank you, Will. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Please enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, we're going to the beach. Yeah.
Yes, yes. That's right.
Thank you, Bongs.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Oh, dog, awesome stuff.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
This is awesome. Let's keep it up.
Will, thank you, man. Thank you for the support. It's been really great.
All right, man. All right, man.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Okay, sure. Thanks, eh?
Yeah. People are leaving, and I just want to make sure that I wait for everyone to go and be the last man standing.
Yes, that's it.
Thanks, Kakeni. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
We'll
Thank you.
definitely go to the beach.
And
We'll definitely go to the beach. 34 units temperature namhlanje.
Yo.
Okay, Kakeni.
Thank you so much, Abule. All the best. Good to see you, Zama. Thank you. Nagutato, Mukocho, thank you so much for joining. Abulela Betuna Tulani Kumalo, Zanele, I see you. And thank you so much for joining. We appreciate your support.